We're here in Monte Carlo for the Rendez-vous de Septembre. For AM Best TV, I'm Richard Banks. And I'm joined now by Scott Egan, CEO of SiriusPoint. Scott, welcome.
Thank you.
So Scott, it's been an eventful year since the last Monte Carlo. Lots of new faces at SiriusPoint. How do you perceive the current environment, and how's SiriusPoint set up to address those?
No, thank you, Richard. Listen, it's been a very busy year, I can tell you that. At SiriusPoint, we've been very busy refocusing the strategy and, more importantly, executing it against that. And I think that's a really good segue, actually, into the market conditions as well, because I think never more has it been more important to be there for your customers. And if you look at the uncertainties in the world today, there has never been a more important role for people who help customers mitigate risk, and I think SiriusPoint is really well positioned to do that in its specialist markets. And so we're very focused on customers at the moment. We're very focused on the evolving risk landscape. We're very focused on working closely with our customers, particularly through our MGA partnerships as well. And I think we feel confident about the future, but we don't feel complacent. There's a lot of moving parts, and I think we have to make sure that we stay alert and really understand those macro trends that everyone is facing, but people will execute differently against them. And hopefully over the last 6 to 9 months, people have seen a different execution drumbeat from SiriusPoint, and we're very proud about that, but we're not complacent either, and we believe there's a lot of work that we still have to do.
So a lot of focus there on customers. How do you make sure that you're providing the products that your customers want?
Well, the first thing is you listen. Right? It's a skill that is often underrated, and the first thing that we try and do is really put ourselves in the customer's shoes, really understanding their business, their risks. Our job is then to be agile and make sure that we sort of develop sort of risk mitigation products that help them run their businesses in a way that where they're not worried about the risks every single second. So, as I say, we work with them closely. We go for what I would call, fewer but deeper relationships. I think that also helps. So I think having real focus on the markets that you're in, the amount of customers that you have, the amount of MGA partnerships we have, we think that is also a component of the recipe for success.
We're here in Monte Carlo. A lot of talk about risk appetite here in Monte Carlo. What's your perception of how the risk appetite is developing?
Look, I think there's a lot of discussion. I mean, we're in the risk business, right? But I think it's less about risk appetite for me, more risk understanding, and really making sure that you understand the drivers of that risk. And certainly at SiriusPoint, we're very focused on making sure that we understand, the pressures, but also the opportunities of the different risk types. So, our risk appetite is to make sure that we work with our customers, making sure that we insure their risks, adequately and properly. No one likes surprises, but we do that in a way that works for our investors at SiriusPoint. And I would say, certainly over the last year, I think we are well on the way to sort of making, progress in that regard.
So Scott, you've mentioned MGA partnerships a couple of times already. It's a busy marketplace out there. What do you look for in a successful MGA partnership?
That's a great question, and we've got many MGA partnerships at SiriusPoint. In fact, we've just announced some new ones again over the last few months or so, which we're super excited about. But I think a partnership really starts with a relationship of trust and a relationship of understanding. And so we work with partners who we think have a like-minded approach to risk management, where we believe that the culture of SiriusPoint and their organisation can harmonise together. I think that's a really important component. And we're after forming long-term relationships. This isn't something where we want to come in and come out of relationships. And the reason for that is really quite simple, which is there will be bumps in the road. There will be moments when the partnership is under pressure. And I think if you have a long-term relationship, that allows you to look through those perhaps more stressful moments and really sort of build towards a longer-term future. So these are all component parts that we think about when we look to partner with someone, and I'm sure they think about that with regards to us as well. And of course, the underpin of all of that is the expertise that we bring in the area of risk management.
So as you're making those assessments, what in your view makes for a successful MGA?
I think, look, I think go back to the relationship again. I think there are some sort of what I would call, social components to that, which are the people, the cultures, etc. There's the skill component, which is the technical expertise, the understanding that we bring. I think there's really, what I would call industry expertise, understanding the sector that we're actually working together in. And then, look, for me, there's a sort of ongoing and regular relationship, whether that be data flows, whether that be sort of, really regular sort of meetings between the partnerships, etc. It's a relationship. And so for us, it's all about making sure that we have regular, meaningful interactions, because the world moves on. And that's the other thing as well. We're looking to work with people where, we understand that the world doesn't stand still. And these are all components that really are core to the relationship.
Scott, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you very much.
For AMBest TV, I'm Richard Banks.